Now, historically, we have seen that our tensions with India have revolved around the issue of Kashmir dispute. And when you were president, you were near reaching a solution to Kashmir problem, which the entire world knows. My question to you is, especially during your last few years in power and the successful civilian governments, we have seen that the importance of Kashmir has always been on the top of agenda of our foreign policy towards India is declining. So my question to you is should it still be the top agenda or put in the back burner?
This is, nations, first of all, when they make policies and strategies, must crystallize their national interests, right? Now, in my view, Kashmir is our national interest. Now, anyone who says, should we do this, should we do that, is violating our national interest. And he doesn't understand what is national interest, right? Now, if there is a government which is doing that, they want to shed off our national interest and put it on the back burner, it's a pity. That's what I would like to say. Like our nuclear asset is our national interest. Kashmir dispute is our national interest. We have vowed it since 1947-48. We must pursue it. Any honorable countries, dignified countries, never compromise on their national interests.
But sir, during your time, there was also a little change that although the Kashmir was not completely resolved, but the relations with India were considerably better as compared to right now. And your policy was also kind of a bottom to top approach. Let's talk about trade liberalization, let's talk about visa liberalization.
No.
But like the situation was considerably better. It was not like the foreign minister is saying cancel the foreign secretary talks. हमारी कुछ international image थी, ऐसे तो नहीं करते थे.
Yes, that is right. So, देखो, let's be very clear now that you are dealing with these subjects. Everything starts with national interest. Never violate national interest. All policies, all strategies flow from projection of national interest. So if we are doubtful on that, तो फिर अल्लाह हाफिज़ है, पहले तो उसका सोचे, ठीक है, कि क्या हमारा national interest. Now, policies have to be determined. Don't compromise. If we compromise, we forget about Kashmir and we want to do trade and economic relations, you are violating the national interest. But if you, certainly it is in our also, as a policy, Pakistan must have peace and good relations with India. There is no doubt. We should have, without compromising national interest, guarding your sovereign equality and your honor and dignity. Now within that, you adjust your policies. You have aggressive policy, you can have a little better policy. We were having this Mujahideen activity in Kashmir, we had the Kargil operations in Kashmir, now all this, but the moment India came on the discussion table and they accepted Kashmir as the problem to be resolved between Pakistan and India, they wanted to resolve Sir Creek and Siachen also. Now, switch to the political. Now we must go on a political path to resolve these disputes amicably with India, but we are not compromising on national interest. That is how we go, and that is how we will go.
So when you were president, at one point you said that no organization will be allowed to court you. No organization will be allowed to indulge in terrorism in the name of Kashmir. But the fact is that there are some still groups which are openly advocating militancy in the name of Kashmir. My question to you is that there haven't been any substantial action against them. So is the military ready to act against such groups, or should we be ready to act against such groups?
First of all, issue is Kashmir freedom struggle started back in 1989 or 1990, and we had sympathy towards them. All these groups were born in the early 90s as sympathy towards the Kashmiris' freedom struggle against India. The policy at that time was that yes, we should encourage groups who want to go and fight with their Kashmiri brethren in IHK, right? For the whole of 90s, this was the policy. Okay? We have to assist our Kashmiri brethren, and they were volunteer groups, all these that we are talking of, to support them. Now when we go on the negotiating table towards solving the Kashmir dispute, now we have to understand now, policy shift, hold on, we are trying to resolve the dispute politically. So the emphasis shifts from this proactive assistance to Kashmiri freedom fighters to political dealing with Indians. So this is now. Unfortunately, 9/11 also came. Unfortunately, the Zaliman issue came up, and Al-Qaeda. And unfortunately, these very Mujahideen who were focusing towards Kashmir started developing a nexus with the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. Right? This is the unfortunate part. And also with the sectarian terrorists of Pakistan, they all developed a nexus between them. So the issue of terrorism got, or shall we say, is religious militancy got complicated. So please understand, it's a very complicated issue. So when we develop all this nexus, now they have to be stopped. This nexus has to be cut, and they have to be stopped because that is not serving our own domestic interest. So ये problems हैं. Now some elements are very, very influential, and their spread is very wide. Like in India, Bal Thackeray, RSS, nobody can touch them. Why can you? But nobody asks Indians, why don't you act against them? I have been asking, when anyone asks me this kind of question, I tell them, tell me, have you acted against Bal Thackeray? The man has banned Pakistan cricket team or hockey team coming from to Bombay. Have you acted against him? No, you get scared, isn't it? So don't teach us what you also need to learn. Okay? So these are issues. Yes, indeed, there are elements which are also involved in social work here, like the Tayyiba, Jamaatul Dawa. They were the best NGOs in the earthquake time. The best ones. They delivered the most. They were the most popular. So there are inhibitions on acting against them. But yes, wherever they are not following government policy, they must be made to follow government policy.
So one last question. I think you said a very important point, and that's why I sort of focused that particular question, because whatever literature available that you see on the Pakistan foreign policy is so much obsessed with this orthodoxy that we did this. Now the point is, there is always a context, right? Like you said, there is environment, and where you change certain policies and where you keep your realities in place and everything. The last question is, do you see any prospects for cooperation between India and Pakistan, especially when the current government has made a lot of positive gestures and initiatives, but from the Indian side there hasn't been a positive or a proactive reciprocation? My question to you is, do you see any prospects?
देखें, if we want to appease them and if we want to submit in front of them, then yes, they can be changed. But if we, as I said, my policy has always been, and I have been telling my counterparts in India, we will deal with you with sovereign equality.
I remember you said.
And also, I will very jealously guard my honor and dignity of Pakistan. Now, if this government or any government follows that, the future at this moment between Indo-Pakistan relations is not looking good. Because India is in a very aggressive, dominating attitude. And it appears that we are accepting that. And it appears that we on the other side are on the quite the opposite, on an appeasement mode. Now, I absolutely disagree with such policy. We must not be. We are a strong country. We are a big country. They may be 1.5 billion, but we are 200 million. We've got a huge military force also. We are also a nuclear power. So we should deal with them with sovereign equality. Unfortunately, at this moment, I am at least disappointed.
Sir, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Time limit.
Yeah. Here them. It's very good. ये हमेशा इसको ये नेशनल इंटरेस्ट और पॉलिसी और स्ट्रैटेजीज, यहाँ बहुत लोग इन चीज़ों को नहीं समझते हैं. So much so that in many interviews they will tell me, that time in 2001 you said this, and and now you are. I said, yeah, you must be crazy. During 2001 the environment was different and the policy was different. Now environment is different.
Yeah.
So I will say a different thing. So you must understand, I keep telling them, देखो भाई, policy is never constant. Only countries which have no understanding of geopolitics and geostrategy, they will do this. ये इस किस्म के सवाल जो आप करते हो.
Sir, one important difference that I have seen, like because we were also a student at that time when you were president, was that because मेरा जाना हुआ 2-3 conference में, हमारा image ऐसा होता था, and your foreign policy was also partly focused on the soft power, right? The attraction of culture, of food and other things. And I think we are completely lacking right now on that. India has done pretty well on that.
Yes.
You go to any village with 30,000 population, but still you will find a restaurant serving Indian food and a cinema broadcasting a Bollywood movie. And our foreign policy is not focused on such kind of diplomacy.
Yes. I mean, these are issues. Like we have to, therefore, for any foreign policy to succeed, you have to be stable and strong and progressive domestically. Internally अगर आप useless हैं, from all points of view, from any development, from any welfare of the people, there is no welfare of people, there is no development going on, there is law and order, terrorism, extremism in all its forms, rampant. So you cannot then expect the foreign office or your embassies and missions abroad to perform. They cannot perform. They have to have some tool in their hand to perform. यहाँ कुछ भी नहीं है तो वो क्या झूठ बोले वहाँ. अब बेड़ा गर्क हो रहा है मुल्क का, तो क्या बात करें यार.